Welcome to the Heart of the Matter podcast, where we have vulnerable and honest conversations about life and relationships. And as you know, we say that you can't come out here with clothes on. You got to be butt naked. I'm your boy, Christopher Doc Reed, relationship and life coach, here with my guys. Poop, what's up, man?
What's happening?
You good?
I'm great, man.
You sure? You color coordinated. I like it.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, like you ready for Olin Mills. Hey, Joey.
Sound like he's trying to crack.
No. Come on, man. You know how, we slip it in. You good?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm
I
good.
saw you look pumped up like you was out on the yard. Okay. Hey, so we got a real special guest in the studio with us today. All I can say is this guy's got 9 lives, a lot of stories. You're going to hear a lot of them. If he was one of the 12 disciples, Pook, I think he'd be Peter.
All the way.
Yeah, I think he'd be Peter. He didn't cut off any ears or anything like that, but
that you know of.
That I know of, but he might have shot a pastor or two in Jesus' name. And so without further ado, welcome to the podcast, Johnny Watson.
Yes, sir. What up, baby?
Appreciate it.
What's up, man?
Can't call it, man.
So here's the deal, Johnny. I saw you. I think it was a Juneteenth event or something like that, and you was like, "Man, I want to be on the podcast." So it was something about coming out here, Joey, I think, and crying. Yeah, because you and Pooh cried a lot. But I think it was something about coming out here and crying that you wanted to experience. Is that what it is?
Maybe so.
Did you hear it?
Maybe so.
Vulnerable. Yeah. He's whatever you want to do.
He in the right chair too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What? Yeah.
It's a crying chair. It's a crying chair. I don't know if you was crying. That's a crying chair too.
No, yeah, true. And that one was.
Everybody else too.
Yeah, it definitely was.
You got a point.
Yeah.
And he's smart.
Yeah.
So he's quick. So what we do out here on the podcast, it's flaws and all. This is not about the fact that you have arrived and you perfect anything like that. It's your story. And so we appreciate you being willing to come out here and share it because it's not easy to do. So now, Pooh, you've been knowing Johnny for how long? Because y'all been knowing each other for a grip.
Man, about 15, 20 years, maybe.
More than that.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, I would say I would put it about 30 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time been knowing.
Like 30 plus.
Yeah. I can say this. Who he is now, he ain't smacking pastors or nobody now.
Oh,
back then,
that we
ain't
know
never
of?
smacked
Or-
my pastor.
Yeah, I don't know. Where the whole
It wasn't
pastor
a
thing?
pastor.
Like,
It was-
why
I
we
was-
on
it
this?
wasn't-
started.
It was
You started.
You know what
exaggerated
said
the
it
pastor.
at the very
It ain't a
beginning.
pastor.
See, that's how stuff gets
Hey,
started.
bring that
Yeah.
beat back.
See,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
how
yeah.
stuff gets started on the internet.
Yeah, no, it's been a long time. We done ran together and played a lot of shows and did a lot of stuff back,
So,
long time.
but can you say that you have seen that Johnny has had a temper at some point?
A temper, he's had a temper. He's popped
I
off a
admit
couple
that.
times. Yeah.
I'm way different now.
Yeah. Well,
Life changes you.
but see, and that's the beauty right there. That's what we want to get into, the story
It's still there though.
of that. I love that. Hey, catch me on the right day. It's still there. So let's go all the way back to growing up. That's where we started at. Now, your story is similar to mine, both adopted. Yours is different because I wasn't told that I was adopted when I was growing up. You knew you was adopted, and you and Pook had this in common, PKs, preacher's kids. So how was that for you growing up? Meaning, like, you grow up to be a person that didn't take nothing from nobody. Sometimes you find yourself in situations where, like, that's what a pastor's kid did? How do you go from that, growing up as a pastor's child, to, being out here, part of your story, selling drugs and all that kind of stuff. So how does that start?
Do you want to know how it started?
Yeah, like for example, specifically, growing up, was it challenges for you? Did you feel like you was made to have to fit inside of a box? People wanted you to fit inside of a box, and you was like constantly trying to get out the box and show them, nah, I'm not who you say I gotta be. This is who I am.
Yeah. So a part of that was being a PK. It was a stigmatism that you had to be kind of like your parents, that, that's a pastor. Mm-hmm. You had to walk the way they walk. And for a while I did, because, growing up, you don't want to let your parents down, or you don't want to put a bad name on your parents.
Right. Now, when you say for a while, like up until when?
Up until when I got, the mistreatment, being a, adopted child, and,
Mistreatment from?
Oh, church members. People in general,
Really? Because you was adopted?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you have some people that are ignorant, I mean, it's just.
What would they say? What would they do? Like, what did it look like?
Mistreatment, just, how they would act, or things they would say, as a child, as, you realize when people are mistreating you.
Yeah.
And saying things that are negative, or, all the whispering behind the back, and you see it, but you can't say anything because of who your mom is or who your parent is as a pastor. So it was kind of like sitting back and had to take it. But as I got older, in my teen years, like, I ain't taking this.
So let's go back before we get to the teen years. So you said something very important, sitting back and had to take it. That can come across as a very powerless feeling as a small child.
It was. Those things, me and my brothers, we used to tell my mother, they said this, or this was said, or this was done, because really being adopted, and, people have a tendency to label you as a bad child.
PK, it's a stigma. Yeah.
A BK and being adopted.
Yeah, okay, right.
They have a stigmatism or of labeling you as a bad child.
And wait a minute, hold on. Really? Like, yes. I would think but foster kids, maybe there's that, but I didn't think
still
adopted.
The same realm. Because, now listen, I was adopted, but my mother still had foster kids.
Okay.
So
that still put me in that box.
Right. To be honest, I feel what you're saying, because here you are in a foster home. By 1 p.m., you got adopted. So now you're just adopted. So you're still kind of a foster kid that's just adopted by a family who went through the process. It probably took some weeks or a month, but here you are, woke up this morning as a foster kid, and now you're adopted and you're with a family. So I see what he's saying.
Yeah, and like I said, like I was saying too, there were other kids that were in the home that were foster kids. Also,
all y'all up under the same.
So we all up under the same room. So just like anything, you're still labeled.
Yeah.
You're still in that box.
Yeah. So being smaller, feeling powerless, like I got to take the whispers, and this was in church.
In church.
Okay. This is not where it's supposed to happen.
The whispers, the mistreatment, it was all forms of mistreatment.
Okay.
At what age did you find out like this was going on? Or
I would say early on. Because it was never hid that I was adopted. Okay. So it was never hid. So early on, I mean, we seen it, And even when I didn't see it, my brothers seen it. It was 3 of us that were adopted. My biological brother, then I had another brother that was adopted.
Okay.
And then there was 3 other foster kids that I consider my brother. They're still my brothers to this day. They're my brother. They family.
Yeah.
It was things, at times the foster care changed. the needs for the county, you know. So with that too, you know, it still made it bad, you know, with the church folks. These are ignorant people, you know.
Yeah.
That just, you know.
And but as an adult, you know they're ignorant. But as a small kid, you know, it just
hurts. It just hurts.
Like,
it was just
dang,
mistreated.
like,
why you treat me like this?
And I would think, you know, mom being the pastor, that you would have got some preferential treatment.
No, she wasn't the pastor at the time. She was just a minister at that point.
Okay.
It wasn't until the pastor passed that my mom took over the church. He named her her successor after, you know, before his death.
Okay. Then could you crap on all the people that treated you like trash at that point?
No, because it was a family-ran church. So majority of the family in the church, majority of the people that were in the church were family.
Okay.
They were the biggest part of the church.
That explains a whole lot, meaning frustration. Now, so while this was happening, your mom was saying what?
That God handle it. God is going to take care of it. Just, you know.
To pray about it?
Yeah, pray about it.
I can't.
And, you know, I don't know if she ever said anything to anyone about it, but for us, it was just pray about it. Let God handle it. God going to take care of it, you know. It's very spiritual. If I must say about my mother, she was the most holiest person. I never seen her do any wrong. You know, it was all about God. Let God handle it. God gonna handle it. God gonna handle it.
And so did you get on your little knees,
Never.
put your little hands together when she would tell you that?
Never.
Okay, you didn't.
No.
So what did you think when she told you that, to deal with it that way?
When I get older, they're gonna see the other side of me.
Really? So that, I'll just say bitterness
Fueled the fire.
started setting up early. Okay. So
when you in your parents' house, you kind of got to do what they say.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
And when you're younger, you know, back in the day, I had older parents. It's my way.
Me too.
Or you out of here.
Okay.
You know, so.
Yeah, but that feeling that he's talking about, like to be a pastor's kid or even somebody that's in church, and you go to them as their child and be like, I'm coming to you because I want to let you know this is going on. This is what I heard them say, or this is how I've been treated. And then I'm not saying it was his case, but my case, I'm going to my mom and dad looking for some form of protection.
Yeah.
Right? Looking for some form of.
So you got a version of that, of being picked on or
definitely.
treated?
Treated differently, you know, they always, it was always kind of you looked at as, or we're going to talk about you. They treated you like you can't get special treatment because you are the pastor's kid, or we're going to talk about you because you're the pastor's kid. You know what I mean? Like almost y'all not better than us, but we're going to talk about you and mistreat you in those ways.
Bring you down.
Yeah, almost like, yeah. Like,
Okay.
let me normalize you.
Yeah.
To make you feel the way like, nah, you ain't special. You ain't, you know, so all that kind of stuff. But then when you tell your parents, it's like, I'm expecting them to do something outside of just pray. Yeah. And when you just pray, you like, pray.
So do
It
you
ain't
feel
working.
like, and I guess I can ask both of y'all, do you feel like you got a minister/pastor response or a parent response?
Minister, to me, pastor and minister response.
Pastor, minister response.
Yeah. Because I think a normal parent, which kind of, you know, fuels me now with my.
Where they at?
With my, it's
Point
like,
them
I
out
got-
to
I gotta- You want to protect them.
So that was with my mom. I dared, you know, I get in the car going home. I tell my mom what's going on. Never tell my father. Don't tell your dad.
That's what mom said?
Yeah. 'Cause my dad was a different breed of people.
Okay.
He'd get your shirt off his back. But even with us, he'd go to war. So it was a lot of things we held from my father for the sake of my mother being a minister at the point.
Did that put you in the middle though? That's a lot of, because here is a child, but here are all the dynamics that are going on. I'm the one that's being picked on. Okay. I go to my mom because I want some form of help, protection, or whatever. Yeah, she gives you what she's going to give you, pray about it, but I'm still getting picked on. And the one that I can go to that's going to bring the noise.
Yeah.
I can't.
So, but for me, this is why kind of why I didn't tell my father first, because I knew my dad would have tore the place up. 2, that takes me out of position what I had in the church. I'm the church drummer. And this is something that I love to do. If my dad found out about it, I'm out of there. I won't have his talent. There's things that I can't do anymore. You know, so it's like it was like a battle.
There's
like
a lot
if I tell my
on.
dad, you know, we all out of there. You know, I can't play drums at home. You know, I can't do
Now,
certain
was your
things.
dad serving, doing all the stuff in the church also?
He was the head deacon at Greater St. He was one of the head deacons, the head ushers at Greater St. John. So my mom is Pentecostal and my dad is Baptist.
What does that look like?
It worked.
Smoking and speaking in tongues.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it was. My dad would drink. He was smoking cigars. You know, my mom was the speaking in tongues. That's how it works. You know, Baptists don't care about nothing.
Right.
Smoking, drinking, just show up for church Sunday
Listen,
morning.
they gonna preach and they gonna smoke and maybe drink. You know what I mean?
So, but I'm sorry, man, but
No, you're not.
but you know what, man, and this was at a young age.
Young age.
But when you really think about it and look at it, here you have this 8, 9, 11-year-old, 13-year-old making life decisions of knowing who to talk to, who not to talk to, knowing who to put the mask on for, who to take it off for, to put it over here, pick it up, put this on over here, now put this on, now put this.
It's a lot.
Here you are at this young age knowing how to do all that. And then you probably under 15 or around there, and then when you become 30, 40, you daggone a master.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, but
I done put on a bunch of them masks.
yeah, man.
We get to that too.
Yeah, like you said, Johnny's got stories. Okay, so yeah, I didn't want to belabor it, but for everyone watching, I needed them to understand what your world looked like as a child, because we say this all the time. Our childhood really forms our adulthood.
Oh yeah.
And people can see you make certain decisions and certain moves. He crazy. Why she do that? They this. And they don't understand where it started. Like you said, stuff started building early. And it's just like a volcano. Guess what? One day it's going to happen.
It's going to erupt.
Yeah.
You know, but all people see is the volcano. Ah!
Yeah.
You know, run for your life. Johnny's coming.
And that's kind of how people, you know, I mean, later on in life,
Yeah.
it kind of took me. But
And we're going to get into that.
because of all the mess I went through.
Right. But see, nobody's stopping, and you ain't about to sit here and explain to everybody. Yeah, so when I was growing up, right, you know, people was, you know, like, nah, either we about to do what we about to do, or, you know what I mean? So now let's move to the age when you finally said, okay, I'm of age now. Now I'm about to start tearing it up. So
well, I don't think it was, you know, the age. I mean, I don't think it kind of happened like that. It kind of happened like, okay, I'm of age, like you say. All right, now you're going to have to respect me.
now what age is this?
16, 17, you know. At this point, I'm out the house. I got my own place.
Whoa. Okay, we skipped some steps. Why are you out of the house at such a young age?
Because, I mean, you know, we were always taught, you know, when you want to make certain life decisions, and if you want to, you know, if you want to be grown, things that you just must do, you want to do, I would say about 17.
Okay.
You know.
Now, what was that? Selling? Was that the?
That wasn't
Okay.
at the time.
Oh, you hadn't even started selling yet. Okay, so, and just for clarity, selling dope. For some of my other followers that might not understand. So, what were you doing at 16, 17 that made them say, okay, those decisions you making, you can't stay here? What was that?
I mean, it started the drinking, the smoking, the sex, sneaking people in the house, and those were the decisions, and getting caught,
Now, is that just teenage stuff?
Just
Is that because
teenage stuff.
you the PK, right? And I hate to
stuff.
say it like that because it almost makes it like, oh, you supposed to be like Jesus, but we understand that that's hovering PK. All right, but at the same time, teenager, and Pook, you know what that's like, just kids.
But again, like
only one that's here is perfect is Joey. I mean, but the rest of us,
to like he's
you
saying,
like Black Tim Tebow, man.
That's
but it's a
funny.
good thing. It's a good as we respect it.
It's a different mindset when you spiritual. You have pastors and you have people that believe a certain type of way. You have to adhere. You're supposed to adhere, in which to me, looking back, is like we boys that's going to be men, but it's almost taught like, don't look at that girl, don't touch that girl. But it's a natural thing for a man, for a little boy to want to be like, she cute. You know what I mean? So almost how you trying to defy what's nature.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Growing parts.
But growing up, it's like, don't see no girls in here. You better not be doing this. Don't have, you know what I mean? So you have to juggle all that to kind of be normal under abnormal circumstances. Because they so spiritual, they're like, you're not, stay this way in order to get this.
Oh, yeah. They seen it when, even if you didn't get caught, my mom, she seen it, she seen it ahead of time,
Oh, yeah. His mom,
Spirit realm.
Yeah.
Oh, she had that.
Oh, yeah, nah. Now, listen, I'm speaking on that. One day going down Salem Avenue, Johnny was following me in his car. I don't know if you remember this story. He was following me in his car, and we was at a stoplight, and he wound up, I think, rear-ending, or he rear-ended somebody at a stoplight. But right then, his mom was calling on his cell phone. He was like, man, mom just called me too. I was like, telling you what? He's like, he was about to get in this accident. Yeah. Am I lying?
Really?
About to get
Your
in this
mom
accident.
had it. Like,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah, for
I
real.
mean, fast forward, she told me the day that I got arrested. She called me that morning. It was like, what are you doing? I said, nothing. I'm in a hotel with a girl. She said, I see you all over the news. I see you getting arrested. You're in a public place, blase, blase, blah. 5 hours later, the feds had me.
Oh, my God, bro. How did you view that? Like, was it... Because, I mean, after so many times knowing that Ma Dukes is, like, that accurate, if she says, and I don't know if she said this to you, son, you better slow down. I'm trying to tell you.
She said it a few times, but this particular day, it was spot on.
Okay. So when she did warn you, how come you didn't say, you know what, yeah, I think I'm going to chill out?
I didn't do nothing that day. I was just...
Oh, okay, yeah. But I didn't know if I didn't know if she said it in a forecasting way. The path you on is going to lead to destruction.
Always. That was a normal. So,
but you probably just could tune
like,
that out. Yeah, okay,
right,
just like with.
Yeah, it was always.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So, all right, 16, 17, you move out, you doing your own thing, and that's when you decide. So I'm assuming you ain't going to church no more.
No, I always went to church. I stayed going to church. I never stopped going.
Oh,
because my passion was music.
Gotcha.
Church drummer.
Okay.
I was, that's all I knew. That's all I really wanted to do.
Okay. All right. That's
we couldn't play sports because we went to church on Saturday, Sabbath. So Friday,
7-day Adventist?
No, Hebrew Pentecostal.
Okay.
Form of.
I don't even think I've heard of Hebrew Pentecostal.
So it was like sundown Friday night to sundown Saturday night. No survival work, no games. That's why I didn't play no sports. You couldn't play.
Did you want to play sports?
I did want to play sports. I wanted to be in marching band. I wanted to, play in the marching band at all the games on Friday nights. And I wanted to, you know, be at the game Saturday night. It was so bad. I mean, like how they was reared, they tried to rear us the same way. No bowling, no movies, none of that type stuff.
Wow. Okay.
You know.
Wow.
But again, on my dad's side, he taught us to work. We had paper routes. We was cutting grass. So when she say, nah, not on Friday night, not on Saturday, hey, y'all, come on, we're going to cut this grass. We're going to go get these papers, deliver these papers. You know, when y'all finish, then y'all can go to church.
That's right.
But I'm going to teach you how to, you know, I'm going to teach you what it is to be a man and how you're supposed to govern yourself.
How does that work with both the Baptist side and the Pentecostal side? How did you know which one you were supposed to listen to and who had?
Well, I mean, there were things I listened to always to my dad, you know, because he was the head of the house. You know, I ain't gonna say how he raised us, how he took care of the house. All the bills was paid. It was always food. You know, he taught us how to be a man, how to work on cars, how to, you know, get out and hustle. He would teach you, you know, if you ain't got a job, you're going to have this skill set. You're going to learn how to do this. You're going to learn how to do that. Whereas mom, you know, she really didn't have to work, and she really didn't work. Okay. She had a little job every couple of days if she wanted to go. But he took care of the house. So, I mean, the only reason that made me want to go to my mom's church, because it's Pentecostal.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I can play. You go to his church, it's like, at that time, Greater St. John, they didn't believe in no drums.
Oh, okay.
You better not bring a set of drums in here.
What was wrong with the drums?
Back old school Baptists, they didn't believe that. Okay. Now, the tradition has changed, but back then it was like, drums? Hell nah. Right. You crazy?
And they might have said that too.
You know?
So, okay. So 16, 17, you out of the house. Now, when does it happen that if people are saying things, you letting them know, okay, I'm not the one? How does that look?
At that time when I left the house, you know, it was like, you know, hey, can't talk to me like that. And they would throw it in your face. I mean, you PK, you know, I tell them, I check them, hey, watch who you talking to. Watch, you know, when I was under mom's roof, this is how I felt. I had to abide by her rules.
Right.
You know, but now I'm on my own. I'm a man. You're going to respect me. If you're not going to respect me, now you're going to see the other side of me.
Okay. What was the other side?
I'm going to whoop your ass if you disrespect me. You know, we're going to talk about it. And if it continues to happen, now I'm going to go to the next level. You know, be ready to take it because I'm going to give it to you because, you know, I've always tried to, even with being disrespected, I try to respect people how I want to, you know, treat people how I want to be treated. Yeah. But then, you know, some people get in their mind that you still that person, that same person that's not going to say nothing, that's not going to, you know, react. But when you make it up in your mind that you've changed and you're demanding respect, sometimes people don't want to, you know, adhere to that. So.
But you probably shared that reputation quick.
Oh, very
the
quickly.
Person who's not going to do anything. Yeah. So what was that like? Because people had known you to be Johnny that, you know, all right, whatever, I ain't going to. And then you go to the guy that, okay, I'm going to give you these hands. Like.
So, I mean, with everything, you know, when you start drinking and you start having sex and, you know, you around certain environments, I don't care who you are. It'll make the nerdiest of the nerdiest person perk up and stuff. You know? So I think that's what happened, you know, to me. Like, you know, so.
You got the liquid courage in you?
Liquid courage and female courage. And it was just like, then now you messing with women and you don't want to look like, you know, no sap, because she's sitting there and she watching this, you know.
Are you going to let him talk to you like that?
I think I'm going to go over there because you let that man talk to you.
Right.
Let that person talk to you crazy.
I didn't think Johnny would take anything.
So, all right. Now you getting this reputation, you that guy. When does it start that you start selling? and like you become the guy?
I think that really didn't happen until about 23, 24.
Okay. Okay.
I had some people come in I knew from LA, and we were real cool.
Yeah.
Real tight. It's like, hey, I got this, I got blah. Know nothing about it. Now, all my brothers, they left the church, and it's what they did.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
They hustle. And I just couldn't I was never the person to sit in the house all day and I call it panhandle.
Yeah, okay.
Nickel and dime bag.
Yeah.
I seen them, brother get locked up, couple brothers I said, if I do it, man, I want to do it.
You want to do it. You want to be BMF out here.
Yeah, I ain't going to say BMF. And that's what happened, when the opportunity came, I really didn't jump right into it.
Yeah.
I was originally a backup driver, and as time went on, I had a brother that was murdered through the same gang, and somebody had to pay that bill. So I had to pay the bill because he was robbed. So I had to pay the bill, which in turn, okay, this is what you gonna make for selling this, and this is what you gonna make for selling that. And once that came about, it was like, I was working a job. I was working for the county. After that, I was just like, forget that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna take this.
So you were responsible for what he owed?
Everything must be paid for.
Joey, is that how it was when you was doing it?
Nah. That was he was joking. But now, hold on, he act like I'm just totally stupid to the game, ignorant to the game. But no, I've had some friends from my high school that, if you have something and then something happens to you and your boys or your family, a lot of times that's passed on. You're obligated to pay that. I mean, I know that.
If it was a couple $100, it was one thing. But you talking about thousands. You talking about weight, 40, 50,000.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, if you wasn't in the game, because you was a driver, if you wasn't in the game on some level, would you have still been obligated, or it was only because you were already affiliated?
Well, I think me or my brothers, one of us would have had to, but by me being the closest to the outfit.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I was one of the reasons why the outfit was here. It was like, this bill has to be paid, so.
All right.
But backing up some, when he said he's been known, Johnny's been popular for a long time. I say popular, like really, he was glossing over the drums, playing the drums. Like he's been known for playing the drums, like
just like you.
Thanks, Pooh.
Like,
it's like you, Pooh.
Johnny being humble.
No, dead serious. Like he's known for being very, very not one of these. Oh, why you just choose to play the drums? It's love for the drums. When somebody say, well, I love playing the drums, or I love doing this, or love music, you can love it and really not be that good at it.
Yeah.
But he was very, very, like, exceptionally good, like high level good.
Well, let me say this. The fact that Puka's saying this, because he don't give props to nobody. Like, he plays things down. You know what I mean?
Who was my inspiration? I'm serious,
man.
When
That's how I look at it.
You get a bass player that comes into your place and and you ain't never had a bass player and somebody that can really play.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
Man, nah, so
now Pook's a superstar. I mean, we know
he is
everybody.
a
Joey
superstar.
know it. We all know
no,
it.
so
Like,
for him growing up, whoever like in church world, Johnny was the mode. Johnny was it. He was. So him being connected with a lot of people was like, that was the thing. He was going to come in. He knew music, knew how to play, doing his part, making sure whatever was going on, people would come to go, oh, man, Johnny come in? Oh, Johnny about to play. Johnny about to. So his connections would run
I'm surprised you didn't go the music route. I mean, like really go the music route early on. Solely, like this is what I'm doing. I'm out on the road with this person, that person. Was that never?
Still, I still had the stigmatism of my mom being a pastor. Okay. Now, at this point, my mom is really the pastor.
Okay.
And everybody is looking, at me. You Pastor Watson's son, and you shouldn't be, because, even when I got busted selling dope, everybody was looking at me just like, what did you do that? I was at church every week,
So nobody had
nobody
idea.
Had no idea.
Undercover.
Yeah, no
really?
idea.
Did you know?
Yeah, I drove a couple of cars.
Luke, like, I bought a couple of keys. You know what I mean?
This was one of these.
He was my connect.
He was my guy, right? So him being my guy, like some of the cars and like, hey man, you can drive this. You go to some of the cars was nice too.
Oh, really? He let you hold the keys?
I mean, everybody had one of my cars. Jason and them used to drive my cars to school. Dion had a car. Jason had a car. It's a bunch of stuff. I mean, it was just. Yeah. And with that, going back to that, when you have money like that, when that came around, it's like you had an S on your chest even more. Whereas the drinking and the women already put an S on your chest. Now when you just got a plethora of money, say something to me. I know I'm gonna get out of it because I got money. I'm gonna pay this lawyer. I got a top flight lawyer on my team that anything that I decide I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get out of it. Wow. Like anything that I decide I'm gonna do. To the one time.
Come on, man. That's what we here for. What we doing?
So the one time the judge told me, he said, man, I don't care what lawyer you bring in here. He said, Charles Smiley, he said, I don't care. He said, I'm going to check this man's record every 30 days. If you come in here with as much as a parking ticket, I'm going to give you all this time. The lawyer said, hey, man, we need to take care of this. I said, well, you got the money. He said, man, it's $10,000. I said, you got $12,000 on retainer. Just pay it and I'll come bring you some more money. He paid it and I cleared my name, went back to the court. Was like, I'm good.
You don't know what to say.
You love his speeches. There's just so much here that, like you said, you got a million stories. Okay. Let's go back to you selling, but then you get caught. And so when you got caught, I'm going to get out of this?
Nah. I think when you in that world, when certain police, certain law authorities come after you, you can kind of be like, oh yeah, it's over with. And the feds was that people, that person, that outfit that came, and it was like, it's not like the state police,
when they come, police. They already got a case.
Well,
all right, the feds, when they come, they already got a case.
It's all they know everything they need to know, hands down.
Yeah,
they do their homework. Whereas state, they operate off of impulse. Mm-hmm. Feds just sit back and, because as I sit back and after I got caught, as I sat back and I thought about it and I looked at my life, I'm like, dang, that was the feds right there. That was them, when the case unfolded.
Yeah.
This day and this day and this day. It was like, dang, that was the feds. Yeah. They was following us. They was doing this and they was doing that. They already had their case.
So when it came down, you knew, all right, no, I'm doing time. It's just a matter of how much time. So you did 7 years?
Yeah, right close to it.
Okay. That has to change a person. Or it don't have to.
Well, I mean, you have some people that it'll change. Sometimes it changes them for the better or for the worse. I like my freedom. That was the first time, me ever really getting in any trouble and I didn't like that feeling. Somebody telling me when I can go to the restroom or when to move or, when you can go go outside, when you can do this or when you can do that.
Yeah.
I didn't like that feeling. So right then in my mind, I made it up like, I ain't coming back here.
Okay. All right. So what about being institutionalized or none of that? Okay.
So while I was in, I bettered myself, some college, some different degrees and, things, some college courses. I ain't going to say degrees, started some college courses and, I wanted to change that for me, because it was either it was already knew it was going to be hard for me to come home and get a job, right, having a number, and being a black man. So it's like, you got a number and you a black man? Ooh-wee. So my chances were slim, But when I came home, I had to get a job, so I had to search around because I had 5 years probation when I got out too. So it was like I had to get a job to find, so these people would stay off my back. Right. That was a quick way to go back in. That's a violation. Right. So I had to get a job. I kept the job for, 3 years, actually for like 2 years. After the second year, I'm still, once you get out, you got to report. You're reporting. They had the color code. You come, if your color, you have to call every day. If your color come up, you got to go down and see your PO. Sometimes that was 3-4 times a week.
Just random.
3 or 4 times a week. You trying to work a job and you got to go down here, and you had to let your job know, like, hey, I got to go down, you had to disclose it to them because sometimes, my probation officer, he shows up at my job.
I was going to ask you, even that, sometimes there's a stigma. Well, a lot of times there's a stigma with, he's in prison, And, aside from church and all that, just society. And even when it comes to like relationships, am I looked at as damaged goods? You okay with a man that's been locked up, girl? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, did any of that enter your mind? Because you still when you got out, you were still in your 20s. Mm-hmm. So
right at 30. I was like 30, 32.
Oh, okay, all right. So I don't know. Did any of that enter your mind about just the stigmas in general? How am I going to be looked at am I going to be looked at as damaged goods, just the people in general?
I don't think, I didn't really think of it that way. Mm-hmm. But for society, though, it was like, how people going to accept me, how is people going to take me, what opportunities am I going to have, but people that I already knew, I didn't care about. My mindset was different. I was trying to get somewhere else. Right, I've done that, so I'm trying to go somewhere else now. I already know our people, they always got their foot on our neck. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? At for any given reason. So that wasn't a mind, that wasn't a thought for me. It was like, how can I excel? How can I get past this bump in this road that I've been through?
And so you came out and you were already in a relationship, or you were picking back up on a relationship? What was going on?
I was in I wasn't. I wasn't in a relationship, so when I went in, everything stopped. When I come home, it was still stopped. But then I got in, had a baby on the way.
By your
wife.
Uh-huh.
So I had a baby on the way, and, I just sat back and I thought about it. I said, well, the right thing to do. Plus, I come home, my mom's still the pastor.
And you were married before you went in?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay, all right.
I had a child before I went in.
Okay, got you. All right.
So I come home, mom's still the pastor, It was like, I don't want to let mom down. If we go back to the childhood thing, I don't let mom down. Everybody looking at her, how she looked, how I look, Pastors, come home, and now she's pregnant again. But I didn't do it out of that, though. I mean, for that purpose. At that point, I think I was more grounded. I was more rooted and grounded in what I wanted. I knew what I wanted in life. So that's why I made a decision.
Yeah, and then there was another surprise.
Yeah. So before the marriage,
I'm up here like,
I thought we was coming to the end. Like,
this is part one. It's about 7 sequels. So with that coming home, she becomes pregnant, and I go to a friend's house, and now in my mind, and I've stated that I ain't in no relationship at this point, not married.
yeah.
She's pregnant, and I come home, and I go to a friend's house, and they're having a get together.
Whoa. You married?
I'm not married.
Not married. Okay. Got you. There we go.
So she's pregnant. I'm not married.
Got you.
Go to a friend's house, and somebody was inquiring about me prior to me going in, being incarcerated. It's like, hey,
Somebody meaning another young lady. Young
lady. So definitely a young lady.
So a guy thought she was cute.
I'm leaving out. So I'm leaving out the door. I'm like, just give her my number. One thing led to another.
That's how it normally
Couple
happens.
things happen, it happened a couple times. Not paying no mind, I thought, 7 months later, 7, 8 months later, I see her, it's like, hey, you all right? Hey, you ain't got to worry about it. I know that she's pregnant.
Johnny said, "Are you all right?"
Yeah, you all
Your
right?
stomach looks a little extended. Are you feeling okay?
No, it was.
Have you eaten lately? Because you look like one of those Ethiopian commercials. Like, are you feed the
In a
children?
nutshell, she was like, you ain't got to worry about it. I didn't.
so this is before you went in.
This is after
you came home.
I know it's hard to keep up. I know.
Yeah,
I'm struggling. Make sure I got all the. Yeah. Okay.
Well, this segment of the story is after I came home from my incarceration time.
Yeah.
So
So basically she's pregnant and she tell you, hey, don't worry about it.
well, I didn't know I had to worry about it because I didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know it was yours.
I didn't.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. Okay, that part. Because if they say, hey, don't worry about it. Okay. Well, I guess maybe you somebody else's maybe. Yeah. Because is that what you thought, Pook, when that happened to you?
Hey,
This dude about to get hurt.
He knew.
We want to thank y'all for coming out to the podcast today. And like always.
Gotta keep up.
Yeah, nah.
So when you did have to worry about it was when?
Friends started telling me, it was chatter around.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, whatever. It ain't mine.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Typical guy.
She said, don't worry about it.
I ain't mine. You know? And when I really, really knew about it, I really got concerned when they came to my house with the papers. You need to take a DNA test. And I was like, damn, I messed up. I go, hoping still. We're going to see if it is or if it ain't. Go do the test. 9999999, which is 100%. All you people that came out. 99 with all the rest of the nines, which is 100%. And from that point,
You told wifey.
I didn't know how.
Yes.
How would you have told your wife, Joey? That happened to you, right?
I was about to say we're in the same boat.
We want to thank you for coming out to the podcast. This might be the last one.
That's
I just didn't know how. I was trying to fix myself. I was trying to gather the nerve. Because at this point, we're married. At this point, we're married now. And it's like, I don't know.
So how long was it after you was married that you found out? And now you got
maybe a year or two.
Y'all knew married. Yeah. This ain't no.
Maybe 2 years.
Because don't get it wrong. It's hard to tell if you ain't married.
Yeah.
Somebody that you love and you with, that ain't no easy conversation.
But being married.
Oh.
But so, okay, not easy. But at some point, this is going to come out. I can't just keep ignoring it. So how are you handling that?
I'm trying to get my mind and my nerves build up and try to. I couldn't even call my mom and tell my mom what was going on. I had to hold this in until I can get the nerves to do it. I never got the nerves.
So how did she find out?
So she, a friend of her mom's was doing hair, and they were doing a hair show.
Yeah.
She was asked to be one of the people in the hair show. I'm going to do your hair. I need you to showcase my hairdo that I'm going to do for you. And my son's mom is a beautician, too. Mm-hmm. She was at the same hair show. Mm-hmm. My son's mom didn't say nothing, but my son's mom's friends. Oh, yeah, that's Bradley's dad's wife.
And she
turned around and said, "Excuse me? Like you got the wrong person, right. I don't kind of know. I'm just paraphrasing.
Right.
But anyway, it came out.
It's funny how you would never expect. Yeah. Just the same as a family member going out of town, and then all of a sudden something happening, and then
yeah.
Where you from, Ohio? Never know.
That's when them scriptures come back to haunt you. Whatever is done in darkness
come to light. Right.
Parents be like, "That's all right. God said." Oh, mama. All right.
Nah. They know it though.
They know it
firsthand.
Hey, so I was thinking, going back, hearing you say like the differences in the household being raised up, right? Mom and dad. When did you start to shape was in your mind being shaped what type of man, what type of husband, what a husband looks like? You know what I mean? Was that ever?
It was always prevalent because of how my dad, he did his thing. I ain't gonna say all men.
Right.
Majority of men. Right. From time to time. I've been with my dad and
he was out there.
He was,
Wow.
He had a few, we was.
So this is what was modeled in front of you.
I ain't gonna say it was modeled. We really didn't know it. I didn't really catch on until I got older. Once I got, grown, was like, that's what he was doing.
Okay.
That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
But what we seen and what we knew was this is how you take care of your household. This is, I didn't know that every now and then you got to go get you something else, I mean.
So when you found out, was you disappointed? Like, dang, Dad, no, that's Mom.
No, I didn't find out till he was gone.
Oh.
My mother and father was deceased. And me and my brother was sitting down talking. This was maybe 8 years ago we was talking about it. And he was like, yeah, man, when we'd be outside cutting the grass and stuff, and Dad disappeared for about 30, 45 minutes, and we cutting the grass and cutting all the apartments, and he go in such and such house. He said, I didn't think about it until I got older, too. Like, Dad was over there.
He was Miss Pam. He was over there collecting rents.
That's what he would say. I'm going here and get this rent.
I gotta go pick this check up.
I'm going here and get this rent money. Get the rent money, all right.
Yeah, but, insider bra though.
It probably was.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So, Okay, you didn't know that part. So how did you feel you were prepared? Did you feel you were prepared to be a husband?
Yeah,
whatever that meant.
Yeah, because of what I seen, how I seen him.
Okay.
What I seen him do. You know, cars, credit. You know, he taught us about credit. You know, the hustle. Not just the hustle. He retired from a foundry, but then he still had properties. When he left us with properties. He was property management over things. It was always, outside of the retirement money, there was still monies coming in. Then he was a plumber, So there was the properties we were doing. There was grass that we cut. There was a paper route. And then he was a plumber.
So he was the definition of a provider.
Oh, definitely.
So do you feel emotionally, because we talk all the time about the emotional aspect of relationships. Because as a man, we stick our chests out to provide whatever, that looks like. Do you feel like you were emotionally ready and available for a relationship? Sensitive. I don't know if that's the right word, but
no.
I can see things from your perspective.
No, because my father was from down south, and it was, I ain't gonna say it was chauvinistic, but it was like, and I kind of adapted this. If I'm the provider, it's my way.
Yeah. Okay, Joy, I see you. That's how you ran yours?
No, because my father's from Montgomery.
My dad was from Arkansas.
And my mom's from Birmingham. So my uncles were the same. It's kind of my way or the highway. I mean, it wasn't kind of like you were saying. When you was growing up, it wasn't too much questioning, giving you an option. Yeah. And that's how my uncle treated his sisters, which was my mom and my mom's sister. So it was, you did what Uncle Herman said. Period, point blank. It's funny when you hear the names, your mind just automatically go way back, especially when you're kids and you see certain stuff, and then when you become an adult.
And Lowe kind of said the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
it's the same thing, man. Just
South, man. I ain't gonna say the South, just that man mantra. I was telling them, I've never seen my mom say nothing against my dad. Ever. Like, if my dad said this was gonna be this,
it was just gonna be that.
That's what it is.
It's just what it was. It wasn't, so to me, that formed my mind behind what I thought a marriage should look like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
see, but that was before this women empowerment. You know what I'm saying? Back then, the women had to really depend on the men more.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
because if you talk about when they couldn't work, they definitely had to depend.
Well, I mean, once they got here over, up north or from down south, they were able to work. You know,
right.
But not as much. But as men, how they were raised.
Yeah.
Their fathers raised them a certain kind of way. Like your uncle, your uncle's dad, they were the providers. I mean, sun up to sundown. They were the providers. So it was instilled in the women by the mothers that you have to do it this way. It wasn't until that equal opportunity women thing that, roles changed. So I mean.
So since you feel like, okay, you had that my way or the highway, in retrospect, would you have done it differently?
I don't think so.
Okay. And why you say that?
Because even with, I'm still the provider. I mean, I still make sure, I'm doing my part. And there has to be some, Now, I'm not a dogmatic type person, but, as a man, I just felt like I should have the last say.
You shaking your head?
And that's biblical too, though. I mean, if you want to be honest, it's biblical.
So do you feel like that's it? The man should have the last say?
I think knowing I'm going into a marriage or a situation, that my spouse should trust me enough to be able to guide her and make the best judgment for us and our family. So if that means, okay, I understand what she's saying, We move. All right, babe, I agree. Let's go. So if that's me, then yeah, I definitely agree with that.
But I ain't saying me on a dogmatic type situation. I want to be clear about it. But you know, I would sit down. You
can already see the.
I already know where it's going.
You can already see the arms folded.
I'm
out
just
there.
you know, but you know the type of person.
Folded.
Anybody that know me know that at all costs, I'm gonna provide for my kids and my family. Period. Whoever that is, it's just how I am. So with that, you not wanting for anything, you know, I should be able to, you know, I ain't gonna say have the last say, but you know.
So I'm gonna do devil's advocate.
I know you are.
Yeah, I'm gonna do devil's advocate. Poop knows. So you got women saying, I make more than he do. I make twice what he make. I'm providing like a mofo out here, you know. And not saying that type of woman is beating her chest. She's just saying, as a factual statement, this is our reality. Now, do you think still the same applies? That, and I know that's a huge conversation right now on social media. Like, it don't matter what he does, and I'm bringing up just as a point of conversation. Because of how you said, if I'm doing this and if I'm doing that, so I'm looking at the opposite side. Does she get to say then, okay, this is how we moving, or no, just because of his position as a man, he's the one that dictates this how we moving?
It should be as a position as a man. I mean, biblically, it states, you know, the man is the head of the house. So with that, I don't care how much money you make, you know, it should be jointly. Because if I made more money than her, which has been most situations, I'm not going to hold that from her. So, I mean, you know.
So you saying, hey, you ain't going to have to want for nothing. You can have whatever you know.
Within reason now, you know, we got to make sure the household is taken care of. You know, we got to make sure there's a savings. There's planning for vacation. I mean, within reason. But still, if she does make more than me, I'm still the man in my house. So if, you know, a real woman is going to submit to that anyway. Now, you get these women nowadays, because they do make more money than most men, that's going to stick their chests out and do that. But, you know, that's a recipe for disaster. But most women that makes more money than their spouse, their husband or the one they're with, they're looking for a passive man anyway, because they're more dominant.
What say ye, Joey? Yes, Black Tebow. What would you say?
Okay, so when you speaking about the current woman today, yeah, it is biblical. But I truly believe that you will have the she-kongs saying, you know, I'm making more money than you. So my word is going to be final. But I do see a different point in that, because if you really want to look at it, you got to also say, okay, who is at the house praying? If we're going to get to the biblical part, who's the one that's doing what needs to be done for the family when it comes to the spiritual? Okay, we see him or her is out there making the money physically, making sure he's taking care of and providing for the family. But who's holding the foundation spiritually as well? And if she is not, and she's the one that's making the most money, it's going to be, I think, in my opinion, there's going to be a small percentage of women that will say, I'm making more money than him, most definitely, but he is my husband. He's the head. He's the one that I know. I see him waking up at 5 a.m. praying over me and my family and this and that. He's going to dictate and govern where the money is going to go and what's going to be done. And then if there's something he's not 100% about, he's going to ask me, hey, babe, I'm a little stuck on this one. What you think? Because I'm looking at it like this. If I move this way and do this, then it'll work. But I think majority, they're going to say it's my way or the highway. those women.
So I think when you say, who's you saying who's the one that's at home praying, we all should be home praying.
Yep.
Shouldn't
Should
be
all. Yeah.
If I'm doing all the work, we should always be praying and fasting and praying at all times, both sides. So, I mean, and if that is the case, we would be together anyway.
Oh,
so it
like
is
that.
going to be,
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I'm saying? So that's how I feel about it. But, I mean, you have she-kongs that's, that's going, and you have he-men that's like that too,
like
you
that
know?
too.
So, I mean, it's on both sides.
I'm like, okay. So there's some areas that a man, and I'm not saying in general, but in that particular relationship, he is better suited to make that particular decision. Let's just make it practical. Let's say in the area of finances. Let's say he's not good with finances. Let's just say he's not. But she's awesome at finances. To me, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever for her to follow what he says about the money in that situation, because he is going to put the family at risk. And so to me, that's just a wisdom decision. That's not even about he or she kongs. It's just like, but if we can touch and agree, I ain't tripping. I'll be honest with you, man. My wife, she better. But when it come to this here, she know and she has no problem, submitting to me in this particular area. Now, I think that's utopia. Is it in a practical way? Does it play out like that most times? I don't think so.
But I think hearing, even knowing the biblical and knowing us as men, right, that it's not a barbaric way you're looking at it to say, I'm the man, is my way, right? Like, in my house, knowing my mom and dad's house growing up, I knew my dad, he worked. My mom worked also. She was the first one, like, hey, we got 6 kids. He can't do this on his own, right? So she worked also. But since my dad handled the church and handled a lot of other things, he gave his check to my mom.
Mine too.
And my mom handled a lot of that, right? So it wasn't about...
So their understanding was...
Right.
You
It wasn't
take
about,
care
you know what I
of
mean, him saying, it's mine, right? He was like, nah, I'm going to bring this home for you
Yeah.
to make sure it's distributed and taken care
So
of.
that's how it was back in the day. It was that way. My mom, my dad did the same thing. My dad brought the money into the house. My mom had access to the account. She paid the bill.
Yeah.
But also, he knew what was in the house. He wanted to make sure that the bills were paid. I ain't never had walked in the house that no utilities was off. So he knew, he kind of kept her on track too. Pay this credit card this time. Pay this, pay that. So I think both of them, I mean,
They work
you're
together
talking about
as a
my dad, he
team.
had a 9th grade education, but he still finances,
Right.
he knew,
Yeah.
so
yeah,
I mean.
Yeah.
It take the right people though
it take the right combination.
to go together, because it ain't just a man and a woman, because you can have the wrong man that's barbaric hooking up with a woman that is very submissive, right? But then you can have a woman that's barbaric that's hooking up with the wrong man, right? And it's like it's a recipe for disaster. But if you have, to me, the respect of, I'm a man, you're a woman, we're gonna work together. I think that's what makes the marriage, and that's what makes two people come together to be like, I understand my role, I understand his role. Right. Even to like child rearing, what I said, shared before. My dad ain't never whooped my sisters. Ever. He's never whooped her. But what he said was it though. It was like, but he's like, I'm not gonna hit them while I'm mad, right? That was his thing. Right. But at the same time, he like, hey, get over here and sit down. They sitting down. They had the respect and fear of him too. But he ruled. Anybody knew my dad knew whatever he said went.
Joe Jackson.
It was not a
Joe
Jackson. It was not an in between. So that's why it worked for them as the roles of a man and a woman, right? It worked together to make that happen. So trying to make that switch around.
I was
never
scared
would
of
work.
your dad, and he wasn't my dad. Like when I saw him, and I saw how y'all was lined up like soldiers, I was like, that man scary.
Yeah.
You know, and I will say this. I've had so many women say to me, I don't want all this. I'm tired of having to do everything. I would love to have a man to come and say, babe, we're going to do this and do that. So I'm saying that, ladies, in defense of y'all who are listening to this conversation, and you maybe say, oh, please come and take all of this off my shoulder, because there's a lot of women out there are tired. And I don't think the way God set it up in his perfect plan that a woman's shoulders was meant to have to carry those certain type of burdens.
It's not. So, but the percentage of those women that are like that, how many would say, I would love for somebody to come and take this off? Oh, but I'm still govern and dictate.
So
you know what I'm saying?
So I've heard this before. I would love for a man to come along and lead. But also what might not be said is it leadership in general, or do you have to sanction his leadership? In other words, if he's not leading the way you think, because if you take your regular alpha male, right? Mm-hmm. He says, babe, I got this. Okay. Now, if you are an alpha woman who say for years you have not been in a relationship, and you've been the one that's just boom, boom, boom. And now you may say, I want a guy to come, and that man comes and says, I got it. Boom. How easy, I know what you say in your head, but how easy is it for you to just fall back and trust? That's the key word. Trust he gonna handle it. It's easier said than done.
I think it is, but it really depends on that woman. Because knowing Johnny's mom, she wasn't, Pastor Watson wasn't, if you saw her, she was not the lay down, submissive type. If you just met her, you would think like, man, she pretty. She standing on her own 2 feet. Whatever she say, you about to go with it. You know what I mean? So it wasn't one of them you thought like, if someone had to see her, like my mom, she'll tell you she's alpha female. My mom stands on her own 2 feet. She's not one of them, okay, whatever. You know, it ain't one of them sweet lullaby type women that you would think, oh, okay, she deal with my dad in this way because she's definitely submissive. Nah, she stands on her own 2 feet to where she gonna say what she need to say. She gonna do what she need to do. But when it came down to her role with my dad,
but you know what, bro? As you talking, I think that's even sexier.
It is. That's what I'm saying.
An alpha woman that says, "I know I'm an alpha, but I willingly submit."
Right. That's what I'm saying. She willingly
to this
submit.
alpha man, and I don't feel less than. My mom would always tell the story that this is my biological mom, but she would always tell the story that when she met her husband, her second husband, that he, for whatever reason, thought she did not know how to pump gas. So he always felt like he had to go do it. So she told a little joke, you know, I was lived in the Cleveland ghetto. I knew how to siphon gas out of your tank and put it into my tank. But I never felt the need to tell him, I know how to pump my gas. I let him have that because I know he needed to have an area where he was the king. And I didn't feel like I needed to tear that down. Let him have that. What is it going to hurt for me to? But that's an alpha woman allowing the alpha in her life to have that. And so in lieu of talking about how we're raised, what we're taught and what we're not taught, there's just a lot, man, that ain't passed down. I think our daughters should have that information for when they get married. Hey, sweetheart, go out here and make your way in the world. Do you. Get all you can get, but you're going to be somebody's wife. And as long as your husband is, you respect that. You know, if he doing this, you respect, don't make it hard on him. You know what I mean? Like those, I mean, I have conversations with my daughter about men. Oh, no. You can't say that to him. He's a man. What are you talking about? You can't do that. But how much are we, and this is just a general question, are we having those conversations with our kids? Like, you got daughters, right? You got daughters. We all got daughters. Are we telling them how to be wives?
Now more so.
Yep.
Now more so we having a conversation. I've shared it and said it before. Those conversations at home, they didn't happen in my house. Right. How to be a man, how to be a husband. I knew the rights and wrongs of sins. I knew the rights and wrongs of scriptures, right? I knew based off scripture, this is what this is. But to sit down and talk about relationships, nah, it was almost, we definitely about to talk about sex in the house.
Oh, yeah, that was forbidden. Yeah.
Nah, you ain't about to
So
talk about that.
I was taught how to be a man because of my dad, because from picking cotton, from what he came from, so that's how I was, taught to be, a man, really. But like Book says, outside of that one was with my mom. It was, the right and wrongs of the scriptures, what the sins was, rights and wrongs. I do, back to the question, I have, with my daughters, if I physically see, things that they're doing with someone that they're dating, words or how they talk, I have, like, you can't do that. That was forbidden. We didn't hear nothing like that.
Right.
Right. Nowadays you have to.
Got to.
With your kids, especially girls. Like, I've always tried to teach my girls, I don't want no man to woo them. So, I did things with my girls, my daughters. So if you was to come along and try to do,
You set the bar high.
the bar's already too high.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
my dad was doing that when I was 13 years old. Oh, this your
My
first
daughter
time
has
coming here?
my daughter,
I try to do,
she has told me I set the bar like
Yeah.
really high.
Now, if you stoop down, if my daughter stooped down to a low level, that's on her. But
Yeah.
I said it here. I said it here. Dining places, nail appointments, going with them, get my feet, Maddie and Patty.
You do that too?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh
Poop.
yeah.
You get it.
High
You
end
get the cotton in
restaurants,
between his toes and all that.
high end restaurants, all that. I don't want you to be wooed by some joker that's just trying to get some,
trying to get
some skins.
Right. Yeah.
They have to, come better.
It took some time though for me to kind of, since I wasn't groomed to talk
That
like
way.
that.
Yeah.
It took time and become unfamiliar because I think me and him had our first kids around the same time. Me being a preacher's kid, not married. I think the age of Cheyenne are relatively the same age. So it was like I was a black sheep of the family to come in and have my first child out of wedlock and not have. But then you learn it on the spot because I'm learning outside of shame and guilt of being the first one to have their kid out of, what I mean? Like, oh, you wrong. And so you're learning how to be a parent and what to say to them that wasn't comfortable for you. My mom and dad didn't grow up telling me that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Now I got to try to groom them. They're in their 20s now. So yeah, it's you can have a conversation more so with them now, but I'm learning how to become more comfortable with those conversations to teach them how to be a woman or a wife, right? Because now is a lot different than what it was when we was growing up. So what they could say, what they do, them feeling empowered, them feeling, all that kind of stuff, man. How to respect a man is huge. I taught my daughters never to hit a man. No matter how big you are.
Same here.
Don't hit a man because, hey, he could be smaller.
He can hit you
He's
back.
made to be stronger than you are, right? So it's going to feel different and all that kind of stuff. So it's a different thing on how to manage that relationship.
And I want to say this because it's been ringing in my head because we've been talking about daughters. You also have to teach sons, one, like Johnny said, how to be a man, but what does it look like for that son to be a husband, okay? Because that woman he's going to be with is more sensitive, and you got to know how to speak to that, especially more so now. I mean, the 50s, in the 40s and the 50s, the emotional aspect of the relationship, men wasn't, your daddy is in there reading the paper, watching the news, Leave him alone. Don't bother him. That right there, that's gone. Ain't coming back. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you better know how to sit down, listen to your woman, tell you the same stories over and over and over again, okay, because she wants to feel heard. Her love language might be words of affirmation, and I'm sharing, whatever the case may be. So I just wanted to make sure, people weren't thinking we were just saying the onus is all on the girls or the women, but, not the men. So this has been good, man. We got so much that we could talk to Johnny about. Like, y'all only have heard like the tip of the iceberg, but a 4-hour podcast is just, y'all not gonna watch it. So yeah, did you watch it? You know what? I meant to get back to, so you don't even have to tell me that. So what we gonna do? We gonna put a pin in it right here, and we gonna have Johnny come back. Would you mind coming back, bro? And yeah.
Next week?
And then
I'm feeling good. Next week?
Yeah, we can work it out. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You depend on their schedule because they celebrities. Never know what Pook is. Or,
I happen to be out for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Shout out to God Mama. She said that Joey and Pook are the stars of
God Mom
of the podcast. And smile real big, nice for them, Joey, because they like your teeth and they just think you're so cute.
This dude got one more game.
This trash crew. You about to say another man.
Hey, as you can see, I keep the party going. So, hey, listen, we appreciate y'all coming by, hanging out with us. Johnny, thanks again, man. We didn't get you to cry. I don't know what that was about. Yeah. Pook and Joey are slipping. So, y'all, appreciate y'all. Come back next time. Hey, make sure you subscribe. Tell somebody else about it. And we out of here, fellas.
Peace.
Peace.